This week, we're going to be talking about the top stories affecting PWD and in Canada and well around the world. But this week we're focusing on Canada and just the different fallouts of different things that are going on that affect people's lives in general. And so, stay tuned because we're going to talk about the Tumbler Ridge tragedy that happened just over a week ago now. And we're also going to be talking about the BC budget that recently came out on February 17th, 2026. The fallout, how it affects British Columbians, the no burger budget, for PWD and seniors, people on low income. Stay tuned. We're going to be talking about all that coming up next.
PWD Allies, the best disability podcast in Canada. Starring your hosts, Brent Frain. And as always, his producer and editor, Neil Matheson.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in. What we're going to talk about the Tumbler Ridge tragedy that happened. Neil, it's quite the tragedy that happened in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, just over. Wow, today's Friday. It's just a week and 3 days ago.
It was on February 10th.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. I still remember that very day, breaking news that came on TV, and I didn't even know how to even mentally calculate what was going on with it was all happening all of a sudden, and news stories were throwing out different comments here and there, and the only thing that came to my mind was, oh my gosh, I was in shock of how it affected me just emotionally. Hearing of all the children that lost their lives, and how it affected the families and the communities, and all around, British Columbia and around the country, and quickly, Neil, and to our audience, it quickly spread around the world. The news started getting around. Every single country around the world started reporting on what had happened, and I just couldn't believe how this could happen. And they're saying it's the worst shooting in Canadian history. But I guess the other part of it is all political parties in Canada. Now, this is amazing that they all put all their partisan issues aside. Like, it was nonpartisan. They all came together as one. To recognize that things need to change in Canada, due to gun laws, and I mean the tragedy. I mean, it's just the families. They're focused on the victims of. This should never have happened.
That was good to see that unity. I mean, you want to see that in a time of tragedy, right? But one thing I wanted to say is, whenever anything like this happens, it's always tragic, right? But this in particular kind of hits different, especially like I'm a dad, I'm a father, and so when you have a child, like my son is 17, when you have a child, you can't help but think to yourself, like, wow, what would that be like if that was my child, and your heart just aches. Your heart just aches for the parents and for the families involved, and and so that's the first thing is, like, as a parent, you think about that. You can't not think about that, and the second thing is, like, I always tell Jake this, is that, I had a really blessed childhood. Like, again, like, I'm going to be 58 in a month or so. Like at the end of March, I'll be 58, and I'm pretty sure you can say the same thing, Brent. Like, you and I had pretty innocent childhoods. Mm-hmm. Like like we didn't have a lot of cares in the world, right? I mean, there was still evil in the world. Don't get us wrong about that. I mean, evil's always existed, but I mean, like I lived a good, sheltered, happy childhood, an innocent childhood, and I was allowed to stay a kid, all the way up until I became an adult. I was allowed to stay a kid, and I look at Jake now, and I look at kids today, and they have to grow up so fast, and they're bombarded with social media, and they get hate online, and
No.
I mean, just think about like when you and I were growing up, we played in sandboxes, and
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
we played in dirt piles, and and we didn't have voicemail on phones. So if somebody phoned, it was, oh well, they'll call back, kind of thing. And I mean, kids are just so connected now. I was reading that just in the last 10 to 15 years, there's been a increase of 4,000% this is just amongst kids, like young kids, like the ones that died. Amongst young kids, there's been a 4,000% increase in mental health issues.
Wow.
4,000% in just the last 10 to 15 years. And so that's the second thing, is this whole kind of reclaiming of childhood innocence. I want to see that as a parent. And I think, our schools and parents could be doing more to kind of shelter kids, to reclaim innocence. I mean, if you're 11, 12, 13 years old, you shouldn't be thinking about adult things. You know what I mean? Like you should be allowed to stay a kid, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, a kid should be a kid.
Yeah.
Adults, and I mean, I think of the times when I was a kid. I mean, just innocent kid, going out and playing out in my backyard, digging in the sand. We had like a little sandbox, like you mentioned, and playing with like little toys, and and just digging away, and just having fun, and not worrying of, was my front door locked? No, like the doors
No, I
unlocked,
know.
open, and it was just the innocent part of the community. I mean, I lived in a rural area, so I mean, there was, all my neighbors were there if I needed anything, I needed help for whatever. I mean, not that I was scared as a kid, no, because there was nothing to be scared about.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, there were still things out there, but I mean, for the most part, we lived a pretty innocent and sheltered childhood.
Yeah,
And
because you look at now, like the parents would have went and dropped off their kids at school, and have a great day, and hoping that they would be coming home, and they didn't come home.
yeah,
It's a lot of things have changed over time, and it's always been there. It's just been blossoming, like mental health. It's just been blossoming over decades. It's got a lot worse, and what I would like to see is more supports of that in the schools, of counselors or phone numbers. I mean, or both, for kids and youth to go and access at any time. Doesn't matter what time of day it is, for them to go and know that there's a safe place that they can go, and contact or see a person in person, or a phone number, and or somebody in their community, or even somebody in their community, with like locally. I think there's more hands on deck that can work together, and to make these things possible for children and youth. There's a lot of scary times now. I mean, social media, like you mentioned, Neil, it brought out a lot of negativity in so many aspects. I mean, there's a lot of great things out there too, like newsworthy stuff. I mean, educating people on good things, and bringing them up to speed on what's happening in the world of, that maybe there's some kind of breakthrough research stuff that's that maybe some youths or children or youths are interested in. They can look it up on the media. But when they're looking up that stuff, they're also getting other stuff in their news feeds.
Yeah.
That's not so good, right? And it shouldn't be filtered that way. I mean, I can go on social media and I can get all this garbage in my news feed that I don't even want, that I don't even subscribe. And it just puts all that, some negativity into their minds, and some of the youths and children youths. I think that technology can be great if it's actually utilized properly, but it's always that narrative of advertising of, well, if you click on this, oh, now you're going to get all these other stuff in your news feeds that you don't want. Clickbait, you know.
Yeah, and sorry, the other thing I wanted to say too is, you know, that I've said this before. I'm not a big fan of DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? On paper, it sounds great because I mean, who doesn't love diversity? Like, of course, you're going to say, yes, I love diversity. Who doesn't love equity? Of course, right? Who doesn't love inclusion? Of course. You know, everybody would put their hand up. So on paper, you'd say, oh yeah, DEI, that's great. But you know, unfortunately, in practice, it sucks. And I just have to say that this example of this shooting kind of pointed all the fingers as to why DEI sucks so bad. You know, and I mean, I have to draw a line and say, you know, like I had a uncle that I loved, and he came out as gay back in 1982 when it was not fashionable to be a gay man. It was not fashionable to be a gay man coming out in 1982. It was
they never talked about it.
It was a very hard thing, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I loved my uncle. Like he was like, I'm being serious. Like he was my favorite uncle because like all my other like my dad had 4 brothers, and all his other brothers were kind of like loud and you know, they were all kind of jokesters, and they all wanted to be comedians, you know. And my uncle Ian, he was the quiet one, you know, and so when he talked, like he didn't talk just to talk, like he talked when there was something to say, right? So when he talked, you wanted to listen to the guy, you know, and I loved him for that, and you know, and I've had a couple of bosses that were gay men, and I mean, actually, I was, you know, the disability, the Sam Sullivan Disability Society, right?
Yeah, I remember you talked about that one before.
Yeah, I worked there for 7 years. And honestly, one of the big reasons why I stayed there for 7 years was because of a man there, Steve Street. He was an amazing man, you know, just an amazing man, and he like he had a, you walk into the office, and his cubicle was the first cubicle as you walked into the office. Like he could have had an office. There was a lot of offices in the back, like all the kind of the bigwigs that had their offices in the back. I mean, he could have had an office in the back, but he wanted to be out front, where he was the guy that as soon as you opened the door, he was the one to greet you with a smile, and you know, and you know, he was that kind of guy, and he was so respected. And again, you know, and you love to see that, where you know, here's a guy where he gave out respect, and so you respected him, right? Because if you give it out, you get it back, right? And
you know, I've had you know, different employers in my past time when I was working, and you know, there were some amazing employers that one of them in particular was he was gay.
Yeah.
Really nice guy. I mean, is there anything I can do to accommodate you, make things better for you? I'll do the best I can, and it was like, I was like, wow. And he actually told me, he says, he says, I'm gay. And I said, okay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. Like I just took him as it. I didn't even know he was gay or not, or
yeah. So having said that, like this, there's a reason why I wanted to kind of put that out front first, because maybe what I'm going to say next, people might start attacking me. But what I want to say is the problem that I had with what happened about, the DEI kind of hijacked the tragedy of Tumbler Ridge in the sense that, too much oxygen, too much honor and respect was given to a boy with a gun. A boy with two guns, somebody that killed 6 kids and 2 adults. That they gave too much oxygen, too much honor and respect, and you had a police officer that was tripping all over himself to make sure he assigned the correct pronoun. Like there was a reporter that said, "Can you tell us about the male shooter?" And the police officer was very quick and said, "Well, actually the shooter identifies as a female." And I mean, why? I'm sorry, but why are you going to go out of your way to DEI that situation and give more respect and honor to somebody that just killed 6 kids, 2 adults? You're going to go out of your way, let DEI hijack that, and minimize the tragedy of 6 deaths. Well, six kids, 2 adults. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and like it wasn't just the police officer that did it. He said gun person, right? He said and then they had the apparently they had that first alert that went out on the phones. It said woman in a dress. Oh, it was woman in a dress, right? And so it was woman in a dress and gun person.
Very vague.
They didn't want to use the word transgender. It was gun person and woman in a dress, and it was just very insensitive, very insulting. It feels like in times like that, like I said, for me, it's always been about if you give respect out, you get respect. Well, where's the respect when you kill 6 kids and 2 adults? So,
yeah, I mean.
So why do you get the respect by default? Mm-hmm, you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, rather than they should have been directing it at. I mean, the families. I mean, they just lost like six children and 2 adults, and it just seemed like at first they were focusing on the shooter rather than the family.
Yeah, it was all about the shooter. It was all about assigning the correct pronoun, and I just have to say, like I said, I have no problem. I have no problem with anyone who's gay. Like I said, I had my uncle who was gay. It was my favorite uncle by far, far. And like I said, I had a boss for 7 years. Loved the guy. He was loved and adored in the office. He was the light of the office.
Yeah.
So this isn't about attacking the gay community. This is about, I don't like that the pendulum has swung so far that it seems like as a society we've literally jumped the shark. Like the whole Happy Days. Like I think people will get if you're old enough, you'll get the reference. But like it seems like we've literally jumped the shark with the society where we're gonna give preference and priority to the shooter and give honor and respect to the shooter first and foremost, because we don't want to insult the shooter who also killed himself, by the way. But I mean, it was
Yeah.
just like it was all about the gun person, and it was all about the woman in the dress.
Yeah, at the very beginning, and I just wish that that the authorities would have really started focusing on the families directly right away, and
Yeah,
the loss of the ripple effect throughout their community in Tumbler Ridge. It was a very senseless situation of a loss of lives, that it didn't have to be that way if the individual would have just got the mental health treatment. And the fact is that they were warned that there was several times that the police had actually attended the residence, apparently.
yeah, that was the
Mental
other
health.
really bad thing, and they gave the guns back.
And that,
And
Dave, yeah, and that's the part I don't understand. And I guess the authorities say, well, they're looking into it. Well,
yeah,
if you took the guns away, you knew there was a problem. Why give the guns back to the registered owner when you knew there was a problem in the first place? Because there is a part under the act that states that yes, they can take the guns away, but they gave the guns back. Then why give the guns back, knowing that potentially, not saying that I mean, obviously we now know what happened, but potentially that it could be a problem. And it's like saying, well, here, I'm going to take away all your Halloween candy, and I'm going to give it back because no, you can't have it. But I'm going to put it back there. I'm going to tempt you to have this. And I'm not anyone watching. I'm not trying to belittle anything that has happened. I'm just using as a comparison, so maybe people trying to understand of how serious this is. Or say, oh, it's Halloween and you got fireworks, right? No, you can't use those. But now we're going to give them back because, well, maybe you got the treatment that we thought that you were going to be under control. We're going to put them back here in the house. Don't
Yeah.
touch them.
yeah,
And what do they do? Hey, I wonder if this will
yeah,
work,
exactly.
right? And that's my point is, and I think that the media, I mean, the media were told to basically back off at the time. I was watching it very closely. Let the family grieve. Let the community grieve. If they want to talk to the media or they want to talk to the authorities, they're going to come there.
Yeah,
Let
and
them
that's the
grieve
thing is
with
the
family.
media was really guilty of, like I said,
At first, yeah.
pushing the whole
Stories.
shooter narrative.
Yeah.
Like I said, as a parent, it really hit different for me because you can't help but think, what if that was my child? You can't help but think that and go there. And I just feel really bad for the families and
Me too.
for, and for the parents that had to sit through the fact that this whole thing got hijacked by DEI. And that's what I mean. Like DEI just sucks. Like on paper, it's great. Like I said, who doesn't like diversity? Who doesn't like equity? Who doesn't like include? Like we'd all put our hands up, right? But I'm telling you, in practice, it sucks. It sucks.
Well, and that's the part really upset me the most, where it was like the tragedy happened, and they should have been focusing on the families, and the community right away, and the children. The children lost their lives, innocent children.
Yeah.
I mean, to our audience, they were just little children, 12 years old, 13 years old. I mean, yes,
Well, let's actually bring up let's bring up the pictures of some of the kids now, Brent. I've got the screen here open here. I'm just gonna toggle over so I can scroll
Excuse me,
down for
everyone.
people too. You can see them here. I'm gonna scroll down to them individually now. Hopefully you can see on the screen. The first one on the screen here is Abel Mwanza. Abel Mwanza was 12 years old. 12 years old. And I did make some notes on each one here. So Abel Mwanza is remembered for his beautiful smile and love of science. His father shared that that his father had a desire to homeschool his son, but his son cried tears. He actually cried tears and said, he loved school so much that he wanted to be in school, Brent. Abel wanted to be in school, and he actually cried tears. He said, I want to stay in school. And, so that's very sad.
It is very, very sad.
And here we have Zoe Benoit. I think that's Benoit, Zoe Benoit. I think that's how to pronounce it. And she's remembered as being resilient, vibrant, smart, caring, the strongest little girl you could ever meet. The parents said she will forever be loved and never forgotten. We will miss you, beautiful girl Zoe. We love you so much. And let's see. Then we have Kylie Smith. And I had a note. There was Kylie Smith and Kylie Smith and Takara Lampart were kind of really close friends. They were considered besties. So we'll get to Takara Lampart too. Anyway, Kylie Smith is 12 years old. And again, I have to say, one of the quotes that David Eby said actually was, these were just babies. He said these were just babies, and he's bang on about that. Like I criticize him a lot, but
I know.
he said they were just babies, and he's bang on. Like these kids,
innocent.
They were innocent, and the innocence of childhood was taken from them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean. Like it's just very sad. So yeah, you have Kylie Smith, and she was the light of our family, loved going to school. She was a talented artist, had dreams of attending art school in Toronto. So that was Kylie Smith. And then you had Ezekiel Schofield, and he was the soccer player. Remember that David Eby was not soccer, hockey player. Remember?
Right. Yes.
David Eby was talking about the hockey card.
Mm-hmm.
That's who he was referring to. He's referring to Ezekiel Schofield. So he was an avid hockey player, and the grandfather said, "So many lives were ended needlessly. Our hearts are broken, not only for Ezekiel, but for every family affected by this tragedy." There's Takara Lampart, who was besties, like I said. And let's see what I have on her. I think she was down here. Further. So she was 2 months away from her 13th birthday. Her mother, she was a single mother, and it's hard being a single parent. I was a single parent for a while after my first wife passed away.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to deal with it. And her mother referred to her daughter as the family hero, the glue that kept everything together. Her mother referred to her as her tiki torch. She's always been a blazing light in the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what the mother said about her daughter. And then we have the mother of the shooter, Jennifer Strang.
Mm.
I'm not sure if I think I have a little bit about her. Not really. She was 39. She was 39 years old. So again, she was the mother of the shooter. And then we have Emmett Jacobs, and he was the brother of the shooter.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also had a couple that were injured. The one that's still injured and in hospital is Maya Gabella.
Yes.
And she was injured. She ran to they were in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
and Maya ran to try to lock the door of the gym to keep her classmates safe.
Mm-hmm.
And because she ran to the door and was up at the front of the door, she was the one that got shot, and she got shot in the head and the neck. And and by all accounts, she should be dead already, but she's been fighting like crazy, and everybody's been praying for her, and they're not sure if she'll ever make a full recovery, but she's still, she's still trying to hang in there, and so
The latest update on Maya is apparently she's now been moved to recovery, the recovery section of the hospital.
Yeah, she was in ICU, and they moved her from ICU.
Yeah, and she's actually trying to take breaths on her own. That was the latest update. That she's actually trying to take breaths on her own. She's got all the apparatus all hooked up to her as a suppressing machine. I'm not sure the terminology on that, but rather than, I guess, to help her breathe. But it is awesome that she's making progress the way that she's now. How far she's come along since she got into the hospital. She was not able to move at all or anything. Apparently, I guess on her left side, she's showing some kind of movement. Every day there's a little bit more activity. I guess on her right side, she's not able to move at all yet. But definitely the progress. I mean, it is amazing. I mean, she is definitely a warrior of. Wow! Like amazing when I say that.
There is a couple that I didn't get pictures for, but there was that one teacher that also was shot and killed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to make sure I have her name. And there I don't think there's ever been a picture posted of her, so I think they're just trying to protect her privacy.
Yeah,
I do have. Yeah, so there's Shanda Avagana Durand, and she was 39 years old, and she was an educational assistant. And the BCGEU put out a statement that we extend our deepest condolences to family, friends, co-workers, and all those whose lives she touched. So again, this is an educational assistant, 39 years old, shot and killed. And the other one that was in hospital, and I think she's fully recovered now. Paige Hoekstra, 19 years old. She had a gunshot to the chest, but she's out of danger, and I think she's basically, really recovering well now. There was a GoFundMe set up, and they raised, and I think this is out of date now, but in just a matter of days, they raised like $45,000 for hospital, hospital expenses and things like that, like over and above.
Yeah, the same thing. For Maya also. There's a GoFundMe for Maya. And you can definitely find out how to help both of them out.
Yeah. And so you love to see that, right? I mean, you love to see the community rally around. I mean, of course.
And Paige is in recovery. I believe Paige is actually going to be sent home and into recovery. And and I root for both of them. That they're hopefully to have full, the fullest recovery that they can have. And definitely, Paige, that's awesome. Like I'm glad that you're recovering the best way you can. It's going to take quite some time, and the healing is going to be a journey in life. And same as for Maya. And then my heart goes out to the family of Maya's family. That I'm rooting for Maya every day. I pray every day. Before I go to bed at nighttime, just give me one moment, please.
Yeah, it's hard.
I pray for Maya, and I was praying for Paige, and then I'm glad that Paige, that you made out. Maya, you're hanging in there, girl. Just do it. I mean, everyone's rooting for you. But it's a senseless thing that should not have happened. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, but I know we talked about this off air, Neil. But I think maybe we could take a moment of silence for 1 minute,
Sure.
and just to, as like our own, on behalf of PWDs and their allies here, we'd like to do an honor of a tribute to the victims, to the families, to the community of Tumbler Ridge, and those affected around BC and around Canada and around the world, who join with us in, just as one,
Hmm.
and just to show the family that the families that we're here.
Hmm.
And if you ever want to come on to the podcast to tell your story, to talk about things,
Hmm.
how it's affected you, reach out to us.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Neil and Neil's my editor producer for PWD Allies, and we have other administration behind the scenes. We're going to take a moment of silence for 1 moment,
Yeah.
1 minute,
Yeah.
just to show our respect to the children and the family and those affected in their direct lives.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That was a minute.
Thank you, everyone, for taking the time with us. And definitely, it has changed the community of Tumbler Ridge
Yeah.
forever.
And I mean, I'm also glad that the premier David Eby made an express point to say that the kids will not be expected to go back to that school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like nobody wants to go back to a murder scene, right? So
Most
so
definitely.
I'm glad that he made an express point of saying that. You know, so
I know I would never want to. If I had
yeah,
ever experienced that
yeah,
situation,
just
I
terrible,
would
just
never,
terrible.
I would not, I would refuse to go back.
Hmm.
Yeah, and thank you to David Eby for saying that and coming out and saying
Yeah,
that. My understanding is that there's portables that are going to be sent out to, they're going to be set up, I think, on the elementary school yard. Um, and they're going to be set up. They have to get them equipped and retrofitted, ready to go temporarily until they can find, I think, a suitable area that they're going to, I guess, maybe make another school. I'm not sure what's happening there, but the school that people knew of, they're not going to be going back
yeah.
in there. So, yeah.
Anyway,
I, I, I
um,
I remember a time of a tragedy that it, and then this is nothing in comparison at all.
mhm,
But the trauma, um, I remember way back when I was in high school. Geez, what grade was I in? I was in, oh yes, I was in grade 9 at the time.
mhm,
And we got in, and the day before, actually the day before, I was at my locker, and just to let people know like how this really touches me so close when this tragedy happened. I had a flashback of when I was in school. Of course, I used to get picked on. Right, and people would throw me in my locker, lock the door, lock me in my locker if I was funny. Right. By the way, there was the lock wasn't locked enough, so I was able to push the locker, and I pushed it open, and I got out. I got out, and there was two teenagers at the time were walking along the hallway, and my locker was right across, pretty close to across from the office. But the secretaries were busy; they're doing their thing, right? They didn't really see everything that's going on, and they couldn't quite see because my locker was almost across from the office, but not quite. Like, so they couldn't quite see the stuff going on. These two individuals walked by, and they actually said to me one morning, "Good morning." The one said, and she said in a quiet voice, "Good morning." And they've never talked to me. They had never talked to me in their life. Mm-hmm. And but for some reason that morning, they said good morning. And the other young man said, "Good morning. Are you okay?" And I was a little bit shaken up. So, well, I just broke out of my locker. You broke out of your locker. Somebody tried locking me in. I got out. Oh, okay. Well, if you need anything at all, if you need any help, just let us know, right? Or, we're here for you. That was the last time, everyone, that I actually saw them. The next morning I came into school, and I guess it was, that was on a Monday morning. I saw them on a Friday morning. It was on a Monday morning. We got in, and on our PA announcement, the principal came on and gave an announcement to the whole school. And they said they had some terrible news, some tragic news that had happened over the weekend, and it had happened on Friday night. And that there was a terrible car accident involving two vehicles. And unfortunately, all the people in all the vehicles, they didn't survive. And two of those individuals were the ones who actually had approached me on Friday morning and said good morning. So it had always stuck in my heart of always remembering back of you never know when to say goodbye. Like, you never know when to say, like, good morning, and just acknowledge the person. And I just never try to take life for granted on different things. And so I always remember, and this is not on just me as trying to, either downplay what had happened, but just to show the community that I know, like, I'm here for you too. Yeah. I'm really, and the tragedy of the loss, and just how things can impact a person. And I think it's touched everybody in general.
And that's just it, Brent. Like, I just talked about, my Uncle Ian, and the other thing I didn't mention was that he came out, like I said, in 82, but then 5 years later, he died, and he died under very suspicious circumstances. It was made to look like a suicide, but it was investigated, and they weren't sure what happened to him. And that was my first exposure to death. And so I was 19 years old. It was actually the summer. I had just finished grade 12. So I had just finished grade 12, and it was the summer of finishing my grade 12 year. And I remember there was a knock on the door. I was living in Burnaby at the time with my parents. And there was a knock on the door, a police officer at the door. And the police officer said, "I regret to inform you that your brother Ian has passed." And
oh, sorry.
And I was in my room, and I tell you, like, to hear my dad sob, like he just openly just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed, and I had never heard my dad sob like that ever. And like I said, I got all the way to my 19th year of life. And that was my very first exposure to death. I'd never experienced death in the family until that moment in time. And so, it really hit me hard for a long time. Like I said, he was by far my most favorite uncle. And it really hit me hard for it messed me up, Brent. It messed me up. And also too, like, again, like my first wife passed away 12 something years ago now. And when that happens to you, when somebody close like that dies, you have the emotions are right there. They're always right at the surface, Brent. They're always bubbling up right at the surface. And so again, when you have this tragedy happen, like, I was crying my eyes out too, Brent. Like you just cried a moment ago, but the emotions are right there. They're right there all the time.
As soon as that came out, the breaking news, I broke down, and it's the emotions. It really affected me. I look back, Neil, and like the first death that I had in my family was my grandma. And I used to see her. I mean, she was my biological grandma, right? I mean, she'd come by with my biological mother, and of course they just kind of went with the family, kind of went with it. It's your aunt, your aunt. But it actually was my biological mother who would come by to see me, and my aunt would actually, my grandma and my grandpa would bring my biological mother and my aunt and all my aunts actually, and by to see me. And so when I go by and see my grandma, and she would go by and she says, "Do you want some cookies, Brent? Do you want, cookies and some candy? And oh, don't tell your mom." And my biological mother was right there. Oh, and of course I didn't know that she was my biological mother at the time. And so my grandma says, "Well, don't tell your mom." And yeah, of course, I figured she was my aunt, right? So she's looking at me, and I said, "Oh," she said, "Yeah, don't tell your mom." And she kind of paused because I think she wanted to really tell me that she was my biological mother at the time. She goes, "Yeah, probably not a good idea to tell her, and because you'd want to spoil your appetite for dinner." Well, my mom was actually there visiting my grandma at the time too. She was in the other room. She goes, "What was that?" "Oh, nothing." I said, "Oh, nothing." And it was ironic is that my mom and my mother all in the same place. I didn't know the friction, but I mean, losing my grandma at the time was it was very emotional for me. And I thought, well, at least I loved her very much from what I remember. I mean, I was pretty young, but I spent a lot of time going to see grandma, and yeah, lots of great memories. And I figured, yeah, I don't want to go through this again, right? And it was a friend of our family. He wasn't part of family, but I classified him as family because him and I used to go to movies, joke around, and I used to have a movie pass. Everybody, yeah, I used to be able to get the movies for free. So I said, "Well, do you want to go and
I
see a
should
movie?"
have been your friend back then, Brent.
Yeah, yeah. No, and he said, he goes, "Let me know if you ever want to go to a movie. I'll drive you down to the movie theater." Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, he was older than I was. I think he was about 6 years older than I was. So he says, I'll drive you down to the movie theater." Oh, okay. So there was a movie I wanted to see, and so him and I went, and I said, "There's another one coming out." I said, in a week, apparently in the movie theater, they always advertised in advance of the following week what's going to be coming out. And I said to my mom at home, she goes, "Well, did you enjoy the movie?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going." I said, "I did, and next week him and I are going to go on such and such a day." "Oh, okay. Well, let me know. I mean, if you want to have dinner, maybe an early dinner before you go." I said, "Yeah, we'll probably see an early movie." And she goes, "Oh, well, he's gone away skiing. Oh, he'll be back in time. Not to worry." He went skiing. Oh, okay. Well, guess what? That was the last time that I saw him. My neighbor was killed in a avalanche. And so again, like it was like that was happening, and it was just there. But when the part that really hit me hard, and I talked about this on the podcast before, is when my mom, but not my biological mom, my actually adopted mom, when she passed away, it hit me so hard. I bawled so much because I was so close. Obviously, I mean, I grew up with her, and since I was just a little baby, and I bawled the same thing when I lost my mother. Same thing, like all the different losses in life. It really made me really appreciate the memories, the positive memories that I had, and bringing them both together in the same place, and going to the community where I'd go to visit my mother, but taking my mom and my mother there together. I always remember that, and we had a wonderful time. We walked along the waterfront. We went and had lunch and dinner. My mom stayed. We stayed for about 4 days to visit. But the memories, I always cherish all the positive memories, and I guess what I wanted to deliver to the community of Tumbler Ridge, I'm here for you, as a resident of British Columbia, to stand here in solidarity with you of remembering your fallen families, the children, the affected ones in your life. I can't bring back what's gone, but what I can bring back is just being here as a member of the province, and just knowing that I'm here uh, to listen and to learn.
And I think it's just important to honor the
Yeah,
legacy.
the
I
legacy.
mean, if you really want to honor the the ones that died,
Yes.
you know, I think
Yeah, yeah, she, yeah, because you took
every
the word out of my mouth. I was just gonna.
everybody should work harder at, like I said, reclaiming the innocence of her childhood, because I had that as a kid. I had
Mhm.
that as a child. I had
Yeah.
an innocent childhood, and I just want to see everybody really push for that again. Like, let's go back, let's rewind the clock, and
And it can be done. It
let's
can be done.
reclaim that innocence again, right?
Yeah, it definitely it can be done.
Yeah.
And I remember just happy-go-lucky kid. I'd go to school, and I was the same way. Like, I would go to elementary school, and and when they'd go on strike, the teacher strike, and all the teachers are locked out on a picket line. But guess what Brent did? I walked up to the school. Oh yeah, like I had to walk for I guess it was almost 2 miles, not quite 2 miles. It's over a mile and a half. But I walked. Didn't matter what kind of weather it was, snow, rain, snow up to my waist. I mean, yeah, and I mean, no kidding, snow up to my waist. I mean, I was a short kid, so you can imagine me Brent trudging through the snow up to literally up to my, like, beyond my waist. Actually, it was actually up to my tummy. Yeah, yeah. So I'm just trudging through, and I was cold. I mean, geez, like, so I was getting there, and picket lines up. But guess what? Brent was determined. No, I said, I'm here to learn. I want to go to school. Well, we can't let you cross the picket line. I'm sorry, you're going to have to go home. I don't want to go home. I still remember that. I don't want to go home. I said, who is making you stand out here? Then of course I was too young to understand, and they said, you won't understand all this. Well, who's being the meanie here? I said, who is being the meanie? The meanie needs to go and stand in the corner, and until timeout, until they learn that they have to respect you. I said, because I'm not going home. I'm standing here. I stood there. I
Yeah.
stood there with them on the picket line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
go
good.
figure, right? How
That's
times
good.
have turned, eh?
Well, and maybe we should get off on the other
Yeah,
topic now, Brent. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
we only actually intended to spend like 5 or 10 minutes. I kind of wondered if we would, spend a lot more time on this, because, like I said,
It's very
it's
important.
very emotional. It's very
Yes.
emotional, and it wasn't. It's not about anger.
No.
It's not about anything like that. But there is like this quiet outrage. I think,
Yes.
very quiet, understated outrage
Mhm.
that we as a society have kind of slipped this far,
Yeah.
where, like I said, innocence of childhood is no longer a thing, and that we're somehow we have to honor the shooter, and pay respect to the shooter before paying respect and honor to the kids, and to the
Mm.
and to the teacher that died, and it sends the wrong message, Brand. It just sends the wrong message.
Yeah, I mean, society focusing on the heartbreak of the loss of children. I mean, well, that's where the focus
Yeah,
should be on, is the
exactly.
focus of the
100%.
children. And I will stand behind that. And I think a lot of people in the world actually echo that. I mean, comments were coming in. I mean, I can't speak for everybody in the world. If someone say, "Well, you can't speak for me, Brent." Well, no, I'm not going to speak for
No.
you. If that's that way they want to look at.
I'm just sharing my own personal opinion.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
That's why it bothers me.
yeah, I mean,
You
yeah,
know.
exactly. And I mean, that's why I share my opinion, is that I stand in solidarity with the families and
Mhm.
the people in the community and around the country, around the province and the country, around the world. I mean, different leaders around the world too. They all came in as one. I couldn't believe the comments that were coming in. Just amazing comments of, when I say amazing, of the outpouring support of different leaders from around the world, of like we're here for you. Like, you know, and different people in my community here are saying, you know, Brent, if there's anything that I can do to pass on a message through your PWD Allies podcast, I will. And I, you know, and so with that being said, before we make the transition over to our next topic, there was a couple comments that I would like to pass on. I won't give their names just for their privacy, but L, okay, the letter L, okay, and there was actually a letter P, okay. L basically says, my deepest condolences to the families and those affected within the Tumbler Ridge community of British Columbia. My deepest condolences to you. My heart goes out, and I will pray every night for the recovery of Paige and Maya, the best the recovery that they can have. And pretty well, P had said the same thing in so many words. Those, and I echo those comments. Just to let the families know that we're all here, the ones that will stand in solidarity with you. If I could have been there for the visual, I would have been there. First thing I thought was, I wish I was there. I wish I was there. Yeah. I mean, party leaders from all across Canada, from British Columbia, amazing that they were all there.
Yeah, they all put their differences aside, and
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And that's what you need to see more of. Like, you
yeah,
know.
and that it's same as with the within the PWD community across Canada. There's so much infighting going on. Yeah. It's like, put the differences aside. I mean, everyone has their different viewpoints of, well, this is the way to advocate. This is the way to advocate. If they just put it all aside and come as one. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. But when it comes to this situation, I'm definitely there for them all, and I'll keep praying every night and every opportunity that I can for the full recovery of the children that are in the hospital. Like I say, Paige is now recovering, I believe, at home. If I'm mistaken on that, if I got that wrong.
I believe she's been discharged, yeah.
I believe she's been discharged from last thing I was told. Yeah. And Maya, to the parents of Maya.
She's fighting hard. She's fighting.
She's a fighter. She's a fighter. Yeah. You know, Maya, you know, you need to get back on that. What does somebody say? You need to turn the bus around. You need to turn that bus around because you got to go back to that ice rink. Yeah. Yeah. So Maya, we're rooting for you. Yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone on this part of the show.
Yeah, so that was an hour, and we, like as I said, we probably only intended to do it like for 10 or 15 minutes, but it's
this will be a little bit more.
One of those things that it's very emotional, and as I said, as a parent myself, it just really hit me hard. It just hits different.
It does.
When kids are involved, it just hits different.
It really does hit you hard, and when a person doesn't really think it's going to hit them hard, and all of a sudden they just emotion just takes over you, and 1 minute you could be just talking, and then boom, it just you get that feeling in your gut feeling, and it just comes right out. You break down, and that's natural. That's just normal. That for emotions.
Completely natural. Yeah.
So to our podcast listeners, we're going to make the transition over to our next topic, the very jaw-dropping scenario that happened just recently. And to our listeners that are watching now, our BC budget just came out, BC budget 2026.
You mean the Nothing Burger, Brent?
The Nothing Burger, as I said at the beginning of the show here. I call it the Nothing Burger. It was graded as a D from the Vancouver Board of Trade. A D. It was rated as a D.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was rated as a D minus. I think
D for delightful.
D for despicable.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Disgrace.
Yeah.
I can't think of the words in the vocabulary that I would love to say, and I won't say it on the podcast. Some of the words I would love to say, because I'll just bite my tongue on that, because what it comes down to is how they disrespected people with disabilities in this province.
But you knew it was coming, Brent. You knew it was coming because
I knew. Yeah.
They've been dropping it feels like for the last year. They said we have no money.
exactly.
We have no money. So I mean, if the government themselves for at least the last year said we have no money, we're broke. At least
Yeah.
it's been at least a full year, right? They've been saying the
Oh
government's
yeah.
broke. We have no money. So you knew this was coming, Brent.
Oh
You
yeah, I
knew
knew
it.
that was going to be a big ball drop, but I didn't expect them to have $0. I figured maybe a few breadcrumbs thrown out there, or some crackers, break up the crackers, just crunch them up and here a little bit here and there. But no, not even that.
Yeah.
I remember a meeting that we had, Sonia, Jeff, and myself. We had with the Minister of Social Development, Poverty Reduction. We brought up the topic about, well, how about we make the equivalent for like the recipients who get the federal benefit, the ones that can. It's a tiny little fraction of the communities across Canada who get the CDB of $200 based on household income. By the way, it's not per individual. That was watered down. Originally, it was supposed to be like over $2,000 a month, because that's what the federal government said the most minimum amount that person needed per month per individual. Anyway, down to $200 per household. But you had the pre-qualifying ones where you had to have a DTC in order to get that. It was that the gatekeeper that had to keep that up there, so that the amount of people that could actually get it, and then you had to jump through all the hoops to try to get it. Anyway, so the BC government ran with that in their platform. Oh, the CDB. Well, they knew damn well at the time that that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
They knew that, but it was a narrative running. Well, this is what
That's
we're
another
running
nothing burger, right?
with. Well, exactly. And so when we had our meeting, Jeff had mentioned to the minister, well, why don't you match it with the CDB? It's only fair, like the ones who can get the $200, and in BC, if we can get up to $200, so we can kind of even out. Oh, yeah, it's a great idea, but unfortunately, yeah, the government's in a bad financial situation. Well, at that time, I'm thinking, well, how bad are they in? Well, obviously, the minister knew, like you mentioned, and the minister knew at that time that it's probably not going to look too good. She was probably informed by the Treasury Department that, hey, heads up, the budget hasn't been done yet. They're still working on it, but it's not looking good.
Well, you know what's funny, Brent, is that Brenda Bailey, the finance minister, before the budget was released, she put out a quote, I think a week before the budget was released. She said, this is going to be a budget of fiscal restraint and responsibility. She says this upcoming budget is going to be a budget of fiscal restraint and responsibility. But what's the projected deficit going to be for this year, Brent? Projected deficit for this year is 13.4. 13.4. I've heard 0.4, Brent. $13.4 billion.
Oh, it's gone up, because it was at 13.3 billion. So I've heard the same thing, that it could be 13.4. I also heard that number is going to climb up even higher, and that is the operating budget, everybody.
And that's, you call that fiscal restraint, Brent?
That's not fiscal restraint at all.
$13.4 billion deficit is fiscal restraint.
And they were told that the government said, they were going to originally bring that down. It was going to come down to just over $10 billion originally.
Yeah.
They went the other way around.
And guess, they raised taxes in a couple of different places in the budget too, Brent, to kind of recover some of that deficit. But it's important. We have to say they only raised the income tax, the actual income tax. They only raised it for one tax bracket, Brent, and it was the lowest tax bracket. So they raised it.
Who gets affected on that?
They raised it for the lowest tax bracket, Brent. So it's the ones that
that
like
can least afford.
You and I, that are in the lowest tax bracket or seniors. We're the ones that are paying the higher tax.
Yeah, they're going to go after the ones who can least afford it the most. Yeah. And so before we get that going, I'm going to put up something right behind me here, because this is going to remind everybody what we talk about here.
We're talking about pink unicorns.
Pink unicorns. So now the pink unicorn has now arrived to pay a visit.
Yeah. So here are some of the other things besides the income tax increase for the lowest tax bracket. Again, we have to say, besides that, the provincial government here in BC has raised, or has added, I should say, a 7% PST tax on basic cable. basic
the
cable.
new tax, everybody.
It's a new tax. It's the PST tax, provincial 7% tax on basic cable now and basic phone line.
Yeah. So if you use your basic phone line, you don't have a cell phone, or maybe you have a cell phone, but you want a basic phone line in case your cell phone goes down, the power goes out. Well, you've still got your phone line, right? You've still got your phone line to use. Well, it was never taxed before in British Columbia, ever. Yeah, it was never a PST on that basic service on your phone line or your basic cable. Yes, your internet was always taxed. They always had PST, GST. Now your basic cable is going to be PST. It was exempt, not anymore. And you know, it doesn't even stop there. I mean, that's just another added expense that people on a fixed income, seniors, people with disabilities.
Well, you know, for seniors, the big one for seniors, like even my parents are affected, right? Because let's remember, like my parents have a house in Langley.
Yes.
And it's paid off. The mortgage is paid off, so that's fine. But remember, as a senior, you still have to pay property tax.
Yep.
Every year you have to pay property tax.
Yeah.
And now that the property values are just crazy, like my parents' home is valued at, I think, over $2 million now. I mean, what senior can pay property tax
on $2 million?
On $2 million valuation of a home when they bought it for, I think they bought it for like $200,000 or something stupid.
Oh yeah, I mean, housing was cheap way back in the day.
It's gone up like 10 times.
Tenfold, yeah.
Tenfold, and as a senior, of course, your incomes aren't high.
Your incomes don't go up.
So my parents have been doing what's called deferring their taxes, deferring their property tax, which I think a lot of seniors do.
This is the part I want everybody to really listen clearly.
Like really listen in on this, because
this is bad.
What the means of government has done now
is cruel.
It's just really cruel. So the interest rate on property tax used to be 2.9%, and it's gone up 4%. They've increased it 4% now. So
here's the part that's really going to be bad.
Yeah, well, it's worse. It's worse than this. So it's gone from 2.9% to 6.9%. Yeah. The interest rate on the property tax.
Oh, it gets compounded.
It gets compounded. That
every month.
Every month it's compounded. Yes. So
ouch.
Who's going to be able to afford to defer their taxes now?
So if you had a lump sum amount that you deferred it, now you're going to live off of a certain amount every month. You're now going to be paying tax on that amount every month, compounded. So that amount is going to erode down. So the value of your home.
Yeah, and all these seniors that maybe bought their home when it was like $25,000 back in 1940 or whatever, you know.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and now they're paying a tax on a $2 million home. I mean, on a senior's income, like, and you're going to compound the interest, 6.9% interest. You're going to compound that every single month.
Yeah, compounded. I mean, it's just going to destroy seniors. And then they're adding, they're adding on the PST and just to like your cable and your home phone, and it doesn't stop there. Yarn. I mean, if you knit, imagine. There's a lot of seniors who love to knit.
You know, and there's another stupid thing I'm going to add. It's not
there's
seniors.
A whole list of stuff. There's a whole list
of stuff. But other thing I wanted to focus on was they're now going to tax security guards.
Small businesses, security guards.
Small businesses like that are spending like, I think on average, a lot of small businesses are spending like $15,000 a year. I think that's kind of the average ballpark figure.
Actually, per month. I remember at McDonald's.
Maybe some are doing it per month, but I think a lot of the small mom and pop are maybe 15,000 because they can't do maybe a full day's worth. So they might do only like 3 days a week or something. So I think I was seeing on the news that some really small business said that they still invest $15,000 a year on security. And again, this is a small mom and pop shop, but they're saying, so with the 7% interest though, there's going to be a whole extra $1,000 for the year just in the interest. They're going to have to pay another additional $1,000 because of that 7%. You know, and let's remind people are having to pay security guards because why?
The underlying issue.
Because street crime and street disorder has gone nuts, has gone bananas. And who should we point the finger to, Brent?
Who is the premier of British Columbia?
Let's ask the pink unicorn.
Who is
the pink
premier?
Unicorn says David Eby.
Yeah.
It's David Eby's to blame. They said Neil and Brent, it's David Eby.
Yeah, but you know what? Let's go and throw more money down. Let's just go and send a
so it's his fault that he's created all this crime and street disorder. But you know what? Like, if you're gonna try to protect your store now, I'm gonna make sure we charge extra for that. We're gonna put a tax on that, a PST tax on that. So now we're gonna screw you over even more now.
Yeah, where your business is already hurting
to fix
so much.
To fix a problem that you didn't even create. It was me that created it. Me, the premier.
Yeah.
Me, David Eby. I created it, and I'm gonna victimize you even more now by making you pay more for the security guards.
Yeah, like your property taxes are already high for your small business. Street crime. You have to pay high insurance costs because
talk about giving the middle finger.
And now we got to have your security guards, but we're gonna tax you more because your business is now hurting. So we're gonna hurt you more.
I mean, talk about giving the middle finger to businesses, Brent.
Yeah, it's like kicking when they're down, right?
Yeah. Sorry, it's my fault that I created all this street disorder, but you know what? If you want to protect your store, too bad. You're gonna have to pay more for it now.
And on the other part is in the budget. It was an increase over 3 years, their magic 3 years for children and youth with autism. Yeah. So there was, I believe, $475,000 over 3 years. Yeah. But here's the kicker: it's not going to go to all the families to help the children out. It's a splashy announcement. It's like me getting a bunch of pink unicorns and spreading them all around my living room. Look, everybody, it's going to help everybody. No, it's not.
Well, it's funny because, we have a few friends of the podcast we can highlight. Yeah. One of them being Tamara Taggart. Mm-hmm. She's been on the show now, I think, it's been twice or three times? I lost count now. Is it three or twice?
Three times. I think three times.
Anyway, she's the, she runs Down Syndrome BC. Mm-hmm. Her own son has Down syndrome, and she's actually quite supportive of the change. She says it's kind of an equalization now there's more kids that are going to get more, like it's going to be more shared funding. So where she says, by her account, where it used to be only 30,000 kids were helped, now it's going to be 48,000 kids that are helped. So in her opinion, that's a good thing. But then there's other parents that are saying, that the individualized autism funding is going down, that it's actually ending for, or it's going down for 10,000 kids, the autism funding, and for 5,000 kids, it's completely ending. They're completely getting turfed off the system.
Yeah, they're using, I think the government's going with a sliding scale based on income brackets.
I think so.
But I guess the way I look at it is your child worth a certain income brackets because they're making X amount of dollars? Is your child worth, because your value of their life, their disability is equals to a dollar amount? I mean, I guess that's how I'm looking at it is, sure, if a person's making a huge dollar amount, they can go and pay for the funding for their child, but I don't know. Like, it's just, to me, just putting a dollar amount to a child, it's like saying your child is worth this much money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the amount of funding that's going to help children with autism. Oh, for sure, and youth. Yeah, could they be doing more? Absolutely. I don't know about the sliding scale though. With the income, I guess it always bothers me of saying, uh, it's like saying you can have but you can't have. You know what I mean? Have and have nots, and it's like dividing the autism community for children and youth of the families of and it's just dividing it up. I don't know if there's a better way of doing that. I'm not an expertise of knowing that. It's just, to me, in my opinion, I just think it's just more of a division issue. I mean, yeah, I agree with Tamara on that. Yeah,
there's a lot of friends of the podcast again that we can highlight. Eleanor Sturko, for one. I mean, she's been on the podcast now. She's been really super critical of the budget. You have Andrew Weaver that's been super critical. You have all of the political pundits like Vaughn Palmer and all of those. They're very
Vaughn Palmer, Rob Shaw.
I'll get to Rob Shaw in a second, but I also wanted to highlight Mo Amir. He's the host of Van Color, and I'm hoping that you can get him on as a guest this year, Brent. He kind of promised that he would come on. He kind of promised that he'd come on, so I hope he does. But one thing I have to say about Mo Amir, he's kind of like I call him the Prince of Positivity, right? Mm-hmm. He's just this, usually he's chill. He's got like this. He's a guy like full of good vibes. Well, I tell you.
Mo just throws it out there.
The budget hit. The budget hit, and he did this tweet, Brent. He did this tweet, and his tweet said, and again, this is a guy I call the Prince of Positivity, Mo Amir. He says this budget has. He put out a tweet that says this budget has no vision, just managed decline. That's his first point. No vision, just managed decline. It's contradictory. There's no principles, no consistency, trying to please everybody but pleasing no one. And the third thing he says is a generational price tag for British Columbians. And then he was invited on. As part of a panel to the CBC. Yep. And he was talking about the contingency fund as being dipped into for day-to-day expenses. So basically, to keep the lights on in a ministry's office, they're using contingency funds for that.
I'll explain that part to everybody. So there's $5 billion in a contingency fund that the government has set up. Now the government can dip into it. And when they dip into it, see, right now, that contingency fund is there. So the public knows that $5 billion is there. Once they dip into that, they can use it for everything they want. Yeah. They could issue you out a grant.
But it's usually reserved for like forest fires and like
usually
like provincial emergencies like I don't know, like an earthquake or like forest fire or something like
natural disasters, right?
Natural disaster type of stuff, right?
But if they dip into it, there's no accountability. They don't know where the money went. I could say, hey Neil, here's $100,000 for you. Go and have lunch.
Yeah. So here's a couple of things that Mo Amir said on CBC. So he said that the contingency fund is being dipped into for day-to-day expenses. So basically keeping the lights on at a ministry's office kind of thing. Oh. And he says, the BC Deputy Minister, Shannon Salter, has had come out and she already said that the provincial debt is unsustainable, is currently unsustainable, and yet they released this budget. In a $13.4 billion deficit now, when our provincial debt is already unsustainable.
I'm surprised they didn't put a little emoji there with the vomit.
Yeah, and again, so Mo Amir is saying at best you have the BC NDP that are managing the decline, and his last comment was, "Where did all the money go? Where did all the money go?"
I think a lot of people are asking that question.
Because let's remember. David Eby inherited almost $6 billion. $6
billion
from John Horgan.
Yep.
And in just a little over 3 years,
he blew it all.
He's blown almost $20 billion, Brent, in 3 years.
He went through that $6 billion in 3 years, and another $13.4 billion.
Yeah,
in that
and so where is all the money? Where is all the money gone? And
$0 increase to PWD, and that.
And what has improved? What has improved, Brent?
Not the quality of life.
Yeah,
It's got worse.
One of the things I said we're going to mention Rob Shaw, another friend of the podcast, because he's been on the podcast now.
Yeah.
One of the things he wanted to highlight was this whole, they've scrapped the merit commissioner now.
That.
The merit commissioner is basically this independent watchdog, which prevents provincial government from stacking the deck with partisan appointments.
Yep. What did they do 35 minutes after they got rid of the watchdog? They hired a partisan appointee, right? Yeah. I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Sneaky.
Very sneaky, right?
Meanwhile, the government says they have no money.
But here's the kicker, Brent. Here's the kicker. Uh-oh. And this is kind of hilarious. Because Rob Shaw said it's very rare and odd for the government to do this, to can the merit commissioner. But he says now that they've taken the step to do this, now this opens up the government to a confidence vote. It opens them up to a confidence vote. So wouldn't it be hilarious? Wouldn't it be freaking hilarious if the government fell over this ending of the merit committee? That would be so freaking hilarious, Brent.
The pink unicorn right behind me, everybody would be laughing. Would be laughing.
It would be
howling.
I would be rolling on the floor laughing hysterically if that happened, Brent.
But here's the other part of the the stupidity of blowing so much money. I feel so disheartened that it's going to be generations and generations and generations to pay for this debt.
It's probably going to take a whole decade to pay it off, Brent.
That's
if you're disciplined. If you're disciplined, you can pay it off.
At the very least, though. I mean, it would be probably more than that, because it's about $5 billion in servicing debt.
Yeah,
$5 billion. That's more than what the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction pays out in a whole year. Imagine that.
Well, again, there's the operating debt.
Yes.
And then there's the what do you call it? The infrastructure debt, right?
Yes. Right? I'm glad you said that. So we got $13.4 billion in the operating debt now, servicing debt for the province of all different expenses. Yeah. Now, here's the big number. Everybody sit down, grab a cup of coffee, grab some, grab some popcorn.
Yeah, so what's the real number of the debt, Brent? Do you have it handy?
Drum roll. When NDP formed government, it was around $89 billion deficit.
Yeah, for everything, all the operational expense, everything. Yeah.
So now we're at $145 billion. Okay. Yeah. It's now projected to go up to $235 million.
No, billion.
Billion.
Billion dollars. Sorry. With a B. With a B.
Sorry, I got that.
Yeah. My
God.
Yeah. And let's put this in perspective, Brent.
How much is that going to be?
Let's put this in perspective. So the debt load currently, I think when John Horgan first became premier, the debt load was sitting at around, we're talking everything, we're talking the big number of whatever it was, $89 billion.
It's around there, yeah.
So that was roughly about 20% of the entire BC economy. If you take the whole BC economy, the whole economic engine of the economy, as David Eby loves to say, if you take the whole economic engine of the BC economy, that represented about 20% of the entire BC economy was the debt. It's now sitting at 35%, so it's gone up 10% since Horgan left, and it's projected in a hurry. It's projected to go from 35% to 44% or 45%. Imagine that, Brent. You're almost getting up to the point of half of the whole operating budget or the whole economic budget of the whole province. Half of it is consumed. Almost half of it is going to be consumed by debt.
Oh yeah,
Just
exactly.
debt servicing. I mean, that's bananas, Brent. That's bananas.
Yeah, and those numbers that we threw out there. I mean, those are pretty close to an estimate. I mean, they might be off a little bit.
Yeah, like the 44% or the 45%.
Yeah.
That's projected. That's to say if David Eby managed to stay in power till the end of his term, till the end of 2028. That is the overall debt is projected to be at 44% of the whole BC economy. 44% of that is going to be just debt.
And
Can you imagine that, Brent? That's nuts.
The servicing on the interest on that alone.
So it's gone from when Horgan took over, it was 20%. So by the time David Eby leaves, so in it'll be 6 short years, it'll have gone up 25% increase in 5 or 6 years.
My gosh.
That is nuts.
And the BC NDP
bananas.
Yeah, and the BC NDP right now is on the verge of having another credit downgrade.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Yeah, and when those numbers that we're telling you right now, everybody, so if they have a credit downgrade to service that debt,
it's going to cost more.
That's going to be a lot more.
Yeah.
And so when it goes more, guess what happens? How do they pay it? Cut more.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to have to cut more. So if people think it's already bad now, the amount of taxes that you're going to be paying more on. So if they say there's GS or PST on your home phone and cable, I would not be surprised if they jack up the PST amount from 7% to maybe 8 or 9%.
Yeah.
9% to cover the servicing debt.
And they'll increase the income tax for the bottom tier again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the people that can
lowest
the least
income
afford it
earners.
most.
Yeah.
So when minimum wage goes up in BC, your taxes are actually going to be going up. You're going to be paying more in tax. So when your minimum wage goes up, you're not even going to feel that increase, because your buying power is now going to erode even further down to pay for that debt.
One of the tweets that I ran across was from Mike Morden. He's the BC Conservative candidate for Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows. So he's a candidate. He wants to be run in the next election as a BC Conservative. And one of the tweets that he had out was that he's just 1 second here. I just lost it. I have to go back. Sorry. My windows are jumping around here. Yeah, so we have Mike Morden, and he says that the entire BCGEU staff now, we're talking FTEs, full-time employees of the BC Government Employees Union. Guess how big the whole union of BCGEU is now, Brent, in staff, the numbers.
Well, geez, I'm not really sure. I was going to try and say a guess. What was the
593,000 BCGEU staff that is being employed now.
Oh my gosh!
And that is because David Eby basically doubled it in the time that he's become premier.
I thought it was only at 300 or something. Wow!
Yeah, it's 593,000 now.
Oh.
And not only that. Well, just to put it in perspective, this is what Mike Morden says. He says that's 235,000 staff more. 235,000 staff more than it takes to run the entire federal government.
Gosh.
The entire
Wow.
federal government
Yeah, and this is just in BC, everybody.
has 235,000 less employees for the whole frickin' Canadian government.
Yeah, and this is in BC.
Less,
This is just
yeah,
BC.
yeah,
Wow. And meanwhile, the government says they're gonna eliminate 15,000 of those employees out of that
yeah.
593
In 3 years, in 3 years,
within 3 years.
so that's just going to be
That's a drop
natural
in the
attrition. That they're actually not going to be cutting anybody. They're just going to wait for them to retire, because they said that's basically falls in line with natural attrition, and retirement is basically about 5,000 employees every year. So that only accounts for retirement, Brent. They're not actually going to can anybody. They're just going to keep everybody employed until we have 3 years of retirement. So that will account for the 15,000 right there.
Yeah, except from what I'm hearing also is there is fear that within the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction offices, there's going to be possible job cuts, frontline workers. I'm really hoping that they don't do that, because that means that there's going to be less people for the recipients to actually see in person or over the phone. And the wait times are up to an hour, in some cases even longer than that, to get a hold of somebody. So if they start cutting.
But the thing is, Brent, I mean, we just said, I mean, David Eby is the one that ballooned the public service, like doubled it. But the thing is and we've got a $13.4 billion deficit, but where has the service improved?
Oh,
do you see any service improvement, Brent?
No, there hasn't been any.
There's none, right? There's no service improvements. One of the things, Peter Millibar. I love Peter Millibar. He's
yes. I was going to play a little clip for our listeners here. Peter Millibar.
He's great. He's great.
I'd
love to get him on the podcast too.
There's something on social media. It's called anyone who's on there. It's called No Context BC. I want you to look this up. Now, there's just a little clip of what Peter Millibar and he was talking about the budget. So listen up, everybody. I'm going to play it right now.
That might change have been bolded. Yeah, I think that little one read the budget before they got here.
That was the little baby crying. And I think and
I didn't quite hear that. Yeah.
Oh, I'll play it again just in case anybody missed that here.
It might be too high pitched to hear the cry, but
let's see here. Okay.
Costs that might change have been bolded. Yeah, I think that little one read the budget before they got here.
Oh, yeah. You don't really hear the cry on. You don't really hear the cry.
It was basically a little baby crying, and he said, I think the little one read the budget before he got here."
Yeah.
And the little baby crying. I mean, it's really a budget in BC for the 2026 budget. I've never seen in my life, since I was just a little taller, I've never seen a budget so bad.
Well, that's one thing I wanted to say that Peter Millibar points out is, like the finance minister again has said, there's no cuts to the core services, like especially they said there's been no cuts to
status quo
to medical or schools.
Yeah, when I heard she
says that, but yet Peter Millibar is all over it, because he says, in here it says that the promised new hospital for Burnaby.
Yeah, where is it?
It's canned. They've turfed it now. So a whole hospital is not going to get built now. So that's just one example.
Meanwhile, people in the community there were counting on that to get built years ago, and now sorry, folks.
And they also promised 16,000 16,000 care beds for seniors.
Mm-hmm.
That's gone.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
They promised a whole bunch of new affordable housing, and that's gone.
Yep.
And we should say, the province has long promised, affordable childcare.
Oh, yeah,
That's now been put on pause.
Again?
That's the new code word. We're putting things on pause. We're going to be reevaluating. We're going to be reevaluating, putting it on pause.
Back out there again. The $10 a day child care.
Yeah.
Every family's going to get $10 a day child care.
So that's been put on pause.
Paused.
So you have all these care beds, 16,000 care beds put on pause. You've got all these affordable homes put on pause. You got affordable childcare put on pause. You've got a whole hospital that's not being built, being scrapped. So for the budget minister to say that everything's staying the same, we're gonna protect core services. Well, no, you're not.
No.
A whole bunch of shit has gone bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly. When they say they're going to protect it, what they've done is that they've actually caused major clawbacks by protecting the status quo. Oh, wow, we're going to maintain the MSDPR. Oh, okay, so we're not going to give a rate increase, but what you've done by not giving an increase, what you do is, and even seniors too, you kick them when they're down, you're going to kick them further down.
Yeah.
Because when you don't get an increase, the buying power erodes away on your current income. It buys down with inflation. And I've known since I was a kid, costs keep going up. They never come back down. Same as rents, right?
Yeah.
They never go down.
Yeah.
I mean, some people believe that.
You know what, Brent? It feels like we're going to go on a second podcast now. We've already been on for about over an hour and a half, so we should probably put a pin in this one.
Yeah, we'll conclude it where. I'll tell you the impact that it has for persons with disabilities and BC budget and also seniors. I noticed that a lot of the politicians right now, and nothing against any of them. I just want to make sure nonpartisan here. It'd be beautiful advocacy that you're doing, right? Holding the government account on seniors, working families, small businesses. That's what I heard the other day. Mm-hmm. Seniors, working families, small businesses. What about persons with disabilities? So let's include.
Where's the beef? Where's the beef, Brent?
Let's include that the segment of the huge portion of our population, because I'm not going to. Let's don't kid ourselves, everybody. As we get older, we're going to get more disabilities. We're born with disabilities. You're going to get a disability at any point in time in your life. And sure, seniors have disabilities too, right? But it's a classification of population. So when we do our talking, even the media, maybe I can help you along here. Do stories, reach out to people with disabilities. You used to do that.
Yeah. When
I turn on the news, I hear the impact of the BC budget for seniors. Okay. Yeah.
I remember when we had Rob Shaw on, we talked about sexy advocacy, right?
Exactly.
Sexy advocacy.
And there's nothing wrong with advocating and talking with real lived experience stories of how decision-making people within the government will have an impact on your life. So with that being said, I'm going to mention about the impact of the budget directly. Mm-hmm. Many PWD pay high market rent in BC. The stats used to be about 74% would pay high market rent, 26% of subsidized housing. That number in market rent is growing. Mm-hmm. That number is growing substantially. I'm going to be trying to get a hold of some new stat numbers.
Yeah, because they're outdated. They're outdated numbers now.
Those are outdated. I would say those numbers are around 85%, I would think.
That's probably a lot closer, yeah.
Yeah, 85% of people that in market housing that actually pay high market rent on a PWD check of $1483.50 a month. Okay, if you opt out of a bus pass, okay, 1 month bus pass, and I'm not going to get into a whole thing about that because that's another podcast.
That's a third podcast.
But right now, as it stands, until it's changed, I mean, you have the option of having $52 added as a default onto your monthly check, or you can take a equivalent of what it used to be a $45 a year bus pass that seniors get, right? So if you stay opted in, you could have the equivalent of what that bus pass used to be. The value of it that the government says is $52. So if you opt out and you say, well, the government didn't increase my income this year, the government chose not to in the budget, but they blew $20 billion, but they couldn't give you a rate increase in the budget. So I'm going to have to opt out of the bus pass, $52. So now you go without your transportation, but you now cancel your grocery delivery service. How do you buy your groceries? So now you got no grocery delivery service. You opt out of your bus pass. What do? You walk.
Yeah.
You walk to the grocery store, take a cab. Now $52. The round trip is pretty going to wipe that out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Maybe a few dollars left. I don't know how you buy it. So government, like, again, gives everybody the bus pass, give them the $52. So you got your mobility, you got your accessibility within your community. Go to doctor's appointments, specialist appointments, grocery shoppings, go to your hair barber place, get a haircut. I don't know, go and spend time to go and see family and friends within the community. You take away their mobility because they need the money. You should never have put that in the place.
Are we allowed to leave our homes, Brent?
No, they want you isolated and secluded. That's what they want. But again, a very disappointing budget. And basically, I mean, for me personally, after the budget came out on February 17th, guess what I got the next day? Everybody, I mean, talk about timing. I got a rent increase notice that takes effect 3 months in June 1st.
Oh, wow.
The day after the budget, like $0 in the budget. And then, by the way, all of a sudden, my email goes off, and then Sonia's email goes off. It goes ding, ding. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I've never got an email from them before. Never. It's always been hand delivered. But an email goes off. I'm like, what the heck is this? And she's looking at it too. Assistant manager? Who's that? Like, we both looked at, I don't know, you got the same email, carbon copied it, sent one to me, one to her. They got our email addresses. What the heck? Notice of a rent increase notice effective June 1st, right?
Oh, I should say we have our biggest fan in chat right now. Shannon Hollingworth is in chat right now.
Oh,
hi Shannon.
Hi Shannon.
Thanks for being our biggest fan.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, again, it's a huge disappointment, but I mean that rent increase notice, and I thought right away, I mean, I was getting nauseated. Like, to be honest, like I haven't been on social media as much as I normally am. I've been trying to digest this terrible budget, how it's impacting people on low income. Again, low income, people with disabilities, seniors, that are going to be the most impacted to this terrible budget. I want to see a revision of this budget. I want to see it either scrapped or revised. And maybe all the politicians from all different angles, can we have a vote? Can we have a vote, please?
Well, this whole thing is going to be a confidence vote now.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
Because
it's the most stupidest budget I've
is so
seen.
kind of careless, right? He doesn't really think. He just kind of.
If my mom was still alive right now, she'd be rolling over in her grave right now, and she'd be getting the strap out right now and whacking some people with that strap. I'm serious.
We do have to leave the podcast pretty soon. But I actually did want to end the podcast. We have to say, like, you're very well positioned there in Victoria, Brent. You actually ran into Carol James. You ran into Carol James in the grocery store.
I did.
In Victoria. And for people that don't know, we have to say that Carol James was the former finance minister for the BC NDP under John Horgan. And I've said before, if you can go back in our playlist for it was last year, we did a show. It had Selena Robinson on the thumbnail, and it had Eleanor Sturko on the thumbnail with David Eby, and and it was called Cartoon Politics.
Oh yes, yes.
And so look for that one with Eleanor Sturko and Selena Robinson. And I made the point. We both made the point that the one huge difference between John Horgan and David Eby is that John Horgan let's get this straight. Like, John Horgan was a very smart man. So what I'm not going to slight John Horgan in any way, but what I'm about to say is that John Horgan was not afraid to have people that were smarter than him. Like, he was not intimidated to have people that were smarter than him.
Exactly.
Calling the shots.
Yeah.
And let's be 100% transparent and say that the reason that John Horgan tapped, who did he tap for? Who did he tap for finance minister, Brent?
Yeah, well, he had
Carol James.
Carol James, yes.
Because she was the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
She was the smartest person in the room, so he's going to tap her as being the finance minister when she had to step down. When she had to step down for health reasons. Who was the next person he tapped on the shoulder? Selena Robinson. Because why? Because she was the smartest person in the room, Brent.
Yeah. And then you know what?
John Horgan wasn't threatened by that. He wasn't threatened by having people that were smarter than him. He welcomed that. He wanted people to push back on it. Like, imagine if David Eby was smart enough. Imagine if David Eby was smart enough to have left Selena Robinson as finance minister.
Yeah.
If he had left Selena Robinson as finance minister, we wouldn't be in this big gigantic toilet bowl of a mess, right?
Yeah. Well, Selena Robinson was on a recent talk show on the Jazz Johal show on CKNW and talked about, if anyone is interested to hear what she had to say, she was the former finance minister in BC under the BC NDP. So if you're interested, check out, go to the Vault. It's the kind of the podcast Vault under CKNW, and you can just look up Jazz Johal, and on social media he'll have it listed down. He has the interview that he had with Selena Robertson. He also has other interviews. To it as well, yeah, he's also had other interviews with former finance ministers in British Columbia, their view on the budget too. So if you're interested to hearing what other former finance ministers in British Columbia had to say from way back, check it out. But it was
we have Shannon again. Shannon Hollingworth is saying that she has a photo with Carol James because Carol James comes into the local Walmart. So she has a photo taken with Carol James at Walmart. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, and then Shannon says, "What you're trying to say is it's a big mess." And I'm trying to say it's a big mess.
It is a big mess, Shannon.
It's a big mess that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
If David Eby wasn't threatened by having smarter people above him.
Yeah.
And calling the shots and saying, you know what, like Selena Robinson is way smarter than me, and because she's way smarter than me, I'm going to install her as the finance minister because she's the smartest person in the room. So I'm going to give her the privilege of being the smartest person in the room and giving her the highest profile, job in all of cabinet as being the smartest person in the room. Like John Horgan was not threatened by that. John Horgan was not threatened, but for whatever reason, like David Eby
John Horgan
does not like that.
John Horgan ran a very tight ship. I mean, one thing that Carol James, I'll say one thing that she did say without, giving out a lot of info.
We have to protect some secrecy.
I have to protect her comments. I had a good discussion with her because I've known Carol for many years during way back in advocacy days, way back. I remembered her. I would advocate regarding minimum wage in BC too. So it was. So I knew her way back when. But she reminded me that the budget was not in such a bad shape, and this was before the budget came out.
Yeah.
She forewarned me that just be very cautious that what may not be in the budget going forward. And she said the province is in very bad shape. and it shouldn't be. Yeah, and so I kind of echo what she said. She said she's very disappointed. To be
Yeah.
honest, yeah,
Yeah.
and that kind of goes with what Selena Robertson said. Again, everybody
Well,
check
again,
out.
Andrew Weaver said it too. Everybody's been saying it.
Yeah, like
Yeah, if John Horgan had been able to stay on, if
Yeah.
he had been able to stay on, I believe you were going to say that Carol James said that they would have been in really good shape to provide an increase, right?
They were going to be in a better financial position to. They were working on things to work into the budget to protect. They call it the most vulnerable. I just say, you know what, to protect the people with disabilities, seniors, low income people. They were putting measures in place, as they call it, safeguards, right?
Yeah.
They're putting measures in, not just keep the status quo going of not increasing rates, because like I could use that same rhetoric that the government uses. Well, we're going to maintain the services that people count on. Well, maintaining means don't increase.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a pay cut because not increasing it.
Yeah.
So basically, that's the buying power. They were going to be putting safeguards in place to actually increase the rates. Should they have done more? Absolutely, they should have done more when they formed government. And John Horgan and I had many discussions about that topic. And he says, hold me accountable, Brent. I mean, don't be scared. I go, right, so raise the rates. I said that right to his face. I said, then raise the rates, damn it. He goes, again, it has to go through our Treasury Department, and it has to go through other stakeholders who make decisions, okay? So fast forward through Selena Robertson. One thing that stood out is that she said that, things were going good in her interview, and I encourage people to listen to the Jazz Joe Hall show on what her comments were. But she saw signs, because what the government does, everybody, is that they project a budget 3 years in advance, okay? Each year, they're going to look at it. Where are we now? Where are we now? Okay. If they start seeing problems, now they're going to revise things. She saw, after when she did the budget, she saw there was a softening of a time. And that was just around the corner back, not far away, last year, right? Like 3 years in a row. She saw that happening. So she said, okay, we might want to take a look at this. Unfortunately, she didn't have the opportunity to continue on because David E.B. took her out. Right? And then Katrina Conroy took over. Unfortunately, I don't know, maybe she was told to basically handle the budget in a different way.
I honestly think that David E.B. wanted to not have somebody as smart on the job,
Conroy.
just so that he could control things a little bit.
Yeah, well, he put Katrina Conroy in because there was one part that Katrina Conroy said after the budget, and I can't find the comment, but Sonia always reminds me that because she heard it too and I heard it, is that Katrina Conroy said after the budget, not too long after, it might have been a day or 2 days after, she said in the legislature, nobody wants to deal with poverty. That came from a finance minister, everybody. When I hear that coming from a finance minister, nobody wants to deal with poverty. Now, I must say the Green Party, they're debating on the budget right now. Okay, they're all taking turns. The Green Party right now.
And there's no confidence in supply agreement now.
They have no confidence supply agreement with the NDP. They've broken ties with them. They are not scared about speaking up and saying people with disabilities. Not at all. They actually come out and say that people with disabilities, no, we're left out of this budget. Seniors, they mentioned seniors. So the same thing. I want all parties to now, going forward, start saying people with disabilities, because we are residents right now. Because I can tell you, some of my neighbors right now have heard some of the budget debates already. They're still taking their turns. And they said, are we erased out of BC? I go, apparently, according to, from what I'm hearing from different politicians, that's how people are feeling, everybody. No, don't. Inclusion, right? And the Green Party has no problem. And I'm not taking sides of saying, well, the Green Party is doing better. This is nonpartisan. I'm just saying that to make people with disabilities feel welcome in British Columbia. We are citizens too. We are residents. We're born here. It's no fault of our own. I mean, you're a senior, you're going to get more disabilities. Don't be scared about saying people with disabilities, and or any specific category. It's nothing wrong. Don't be ashamed. It's not an shameful word to say, and I think it's just automatically they'll say the most vulnerable. Well, seniors are the most vulnerable. People with disabilities are the most vulnerable. People on low income are the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
Why don't we just say people with low income, people with disabilities, seniors? That way, it's all included. Like nobody's been left out. Like so. Thank you, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed the long podcast today. Of course, each and every week we come out with new, different podcasts. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, reach out. We've got lots of room.
Yeah, we always provide the emails on the channel, and they're always at the end of every one of our broadcasts. You'll see the emails posted. So yeah, reach out to either one of us.
Yeah, it really helps. It really helps the channel grow. If you're fortunate enough and that you won the lottery, or maybe your taxes went down, and you're able to help the channel out, definitely reach out to us. I'm just joking. Did your taxes?
This feels like an episode of one of your Twitter. What is it? The Twitter Spaces
Twitter
day,
Spaces.
Brent, because it's like we're rapidly approaching 2 hours now.
And this is where we sign off now. Yeah.
So
thanks everybody. As always, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Stay tuned to our next episode. If you want to be a guest and talk about your story and how the BC government, since today's show is talking about the BC budget, how did the BC budget affect your life? What are you going to have to sacrifice? What changes are you going to have to make? What do you want your voice? What do you want to see the politicians do to help change things to better things, to hold the politicians in BC accountable? And that's really what it comes down to is I can grumble and bitch and whine and complain. What are we going to do to hold them accountable to make them change and saying, no, it's not okay for status quo. Yeah. Anyway, reach out to us. Let us know if you would love to be a guest, and tell us your story.
And again, off the top of the show, again, our thoughts and prayers are with the families of Tumbler Ridge.
Yes.
And we're praying again for Maya.
Yeah, I will be praying
for all the families involved. We're praying for all the families involved because it's just horrendous what's happened there.
Yes, and basically all my thoughts and prayers go out to the families and the community who have had to do this under your suffering. That is immensely painful, and my heart breaks for you all. Mm-hmm. But always remember that my thoughts and prayers are with you. Cherish the great moments that you've had. I guess, and that's what I always do in my life too. I cherish all the great memories, and you can't bring back the lost loved ones in your life. I know that, and it's going to take a long time to heal.
You can fight for their memories, though. You can fight for their memories.
You can, you can fight for their memories, and definitely hold the community in your heart. Hold each other. Yeah. Hug everyone, as the politician said. Remember hearing that? Hug.
Yeah.
Just give them a hug. Hug your community. Hug each other. If you see somebody down, give them a hug. It really changes the whole the feelings of the emotions of what they're going through. And this is from PWD Allies
this
podcast.
From another super fan of ours.
Yes, I knew. Yeah, it's
Trisha.
A mug. But yeah, Trisha. Thank you so much. And she put a logo on this side too, and it keeps the beverages nice and hot. This is a mug just for people listening on the podcast version. They're like, what is he doing? I'm holding up a mug that has got the PWD Allies logo with a wheelchair in the middle of the cup there. And it's red, and it's got black lettering around it with the logo. And on the other side, we've got just the accessible wheelchair logo with the Canadian flag.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the longer episode today. We had lots to kind of cover. I promise that we'll try to keep things down to a roar. Yeah, right, Brent. Sure. Promise,
Yeah.
promise. Yeah.
Here comes the cane. Here comes the cane.
There it
now,
goes. Yeah, no, there you he just blew it. Anyway,
Okay.
thanks everyone. I'm just
Bye,
joking. So, have a good day. Thank you.